This that no nonsense. But guys, I talked about Kyrie Irving on my earliest videos when I started my channel. And I called him a fortunate Carmelo Anthony. Why did I call him a fortunate Carmelo Anthony? Because he was fortunate enough to have LeBron come back. And then when he went to Boston, he was able to taste what success was and realize that he couldn't pretty much do what LeBron was able to do in terms of be an alpha and control those aspects of the team. It was like a humbling experience. Carmelo Anthony wasn't fortunate enough to do that. Carmelo Anthony believed that scoring was his bread and butter. And when guys told him that he was bad, he didn't understand because he was like, I can score. But scoring was pretty much wasn't the aspect of his game that people had a problem with. It was the other things that people had a problem with, such as playing his game, which didn't allow other people to play their game. See, there's a term called overplaying in a band. It's when a piano player, I'm gonna use a piano player because I am that. When you overplay on the piano, you pretty much take away from the singer and the other aspects of the instrument, such as the bass player and maybe even the drums, right? So if you have a bass player and the drums and the singer, the piano player obviously has to play around the alto or soprano range on the keys, maybe the low tenor, and then the bass player play the bass range. You don't see the piano players playing the bass range of the keyboard because they'll clash with the bass player. And then the piano has to play obviously melodically to what the singer wants. That's how a band shines, right? You have to sacrifice for the betterment of the band. Same with singers. When you have a choir, you have alto, tenor, and soprano. Obviously, you're going to have some sopranos, some tenors, and alto that can sing in like a lot of keys, but they stick within their range for the betterment of the choir, even when mixing. You can't just have one thing overshadowing the rest. So when I look at Carmelo Anthony offensively was so good that he believed that if things were going bad, he have to do more. It's like a band. When the band clashes, it's like a piano player said, "Okay, I gotta show out. I gotta even overplay even more." And then usually the singer or they'll tell you to pretty much stop, right? But you can't do that to a basketball player, obviously. You can't tell Carmelo Anthony to stop. It's not what happens. But you'll send signals out. You'll say things like he can only do this or whatever. But really what they mean to say is when you do too much of your game, like Kyrie Irving and like Carmelo Anthony, it doesn't allow the other players to shine. This was the difference between Kyrie Irving and Stephen Curry. When guys were comparing Steph and Kyrie, guys were saying Kyrie was better. They were saying that, oh man, really they were saying two things. They were saying that Kyrie was quote unquote more exciting or Kyrie Irving was a better one-on-one player, right? And the exciting part, obviously, that's just opinionated. But as far as one-on-one, Kyrie is a better one-on-one player. Kyrie has better handles, and Kyrie is one of the best finishers I've ever seen. However, the difference between him and Steph is like the two characters I'm going to use called Napoleon and Rambo. Steph is a Napoleon, Kyrie Irving is a Rambo. Obviously, you can't be a Rambo in real life, but you can be like Rambo. Rambo was exciting. However, Napoleon was a general, and Napoleon won wars, right? Even though Napoleon was a bit stubborn, but I mean the skill sets of a Napoleon and a Rambo. Kyrie and Carmelo are like Rambos. They believe that they can just do things on their own. Steph is like a Napoleon. And that's the problem with Kyrie, and that was the problem with Carmelo Anthony. Right? Kyrie needs to understand rather the ability to digress a lot of his game to make the teammates shine. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you can do it all the time. That's part of being wise, right? And having perception to your power. Right? Part of having this perception to your power. You even look at Michael Jordan. Usually when a guy is young in the NBA, they try to do a whole bunch of things to show people that they can do a lot. But then you notice that if they're superstars, they're winning championships, right? You even look at Stephen Curry. If you look at his younger days, he runs around a lot, right? He shoots from deep a lot. But now when you see Stephen Curry, he plays more controlled, right? He doesn't run as much. He doesn't just come down the court and just jack up a long three, right? He doesn't need to show that I can do that to the people. He digresses his game a bit. It's kind of like how Jordan did, right? And part of that is you getting older. But you know, it's like just because I could do something doesn't mean I can do it all the time. That's what Kyrie Irving is currently struggling with. So obviously they're going to talk about it.
It's transparent. It's out there. You know, it's glaring in terms of the pieces that we need in order for us to be at that next level. And I'm going to continue to reiterate it. You know, we're going to do the best with the guys that we have within our locker room now. And, you know, we worry about all the other stuff in terms of moving pieces and everything else as an organization down the line. Collectively, I feel like we have great pieces, but obviously it's pretty glaring that we need, you know, one more piece or two more pieces that
You hear what you just said? This is the favorite time of the month, guys. This is that January, February. He's falling after his daddy LeBron's footsteps. See, I said this about Brooklyn Nets. When I saw them get eliminated in 5 last year, they was a great transition team that wanted to get up 40 to 53s a game. And at times they struggled with half-court offense. They had to hope on Karis LeVert beating his man due to his speed and athleticism and D'Lo Russell being hot. But at times they struggle with half-court offense. Their problem was their defense. That was Brooklyn Nets' biggest problem, was their defense. And they'll get cold sometimes off half-court offense. Now, if you was to run up and down the game, up and down the court, then Brooklyn Nets was going to be dangerous. This is why Jared Dudley famously said that Ben Simmons was useless on the half court. Ben Simmons then proceeds to drop, I believe, 30 or 27. That was because Brooklyn Nets don't play half-court offense. What Jared Dudley said about Ben Simmons was correct. But the reason why Ben Simmons went off that next game, not because Ben Simmons got mad, is because Brooklyn liked to run a full-court style of play. Right? So they started speeding up the game because Brooklyn's best game is getting up a ton of threes and running on transition because they got a lot of young, fast guys. Now with Kyrie, they get to play half court because Kyrie is obviously a great ISO player. However, when a lot of these great chemistry teams that believe that once all they need is a star, once they get those stars, a lot of those roles are broken. So Kyrie Irving's game doesn't allow those other guys to play their game to the fullest. And whenever things are bad, Kyrie believes that he got to do more of that, right? Like a piano player believes he got to even overplay more. But obviously, you got singers that can tell the piano player to stop, right? If you have a singing dynamic, right? Where the singer leads the band. But you don't have someone to tell Kyrie Irving to stop, right? Someone got to inform him maybe that you got to do less of that, right? And try to figure out a way to let your team play, right? And find parts of your game that can help the team. Just because you could do something doesn't mean you could do it all the time.
Myself, KD, DJ, GT, Spence, Karis, and you know, we'll see how that evolves.
All right, so Stephen A. Kyrie says it's glaring they need more pieces. Let's keep this in mind. He's missed 26 games this season. They went 13-13 during those games. And considering what's happened in Boston without him, how do you feel about him saying these comments?
I don't feel good at all. I really, really don't. And Max Kellerman, we both know. Who's the dude on this show that consistently sings Kyrie Irving's praises? That would happen to be me. Not today. Not today. I got to admit, I'm incredibly disappointed in Kyrie Irving right now. I mean, you out 26 games with that left shoulder impingement, okay? A lot of people felt it should have been a hell of a lot sooner. That's not for us to say you hurt, bro. You hurt, you all world when you ballin'. We know your skills are mad. We understand all of that. How the hell you gonna make a statement like this? How? You're 18 and 22. I got news for y'all, ladies and gentlemen. Kenny Atkinson is doing a hell of a job. Sean Marks, the executive for the Brooklyn Nets, is doing a hell of a job. The person that hasn't been doing their job has been Kyrie, albeit not his fault because he was out the 26 games. When he's played, he's averaging 27. But the point is, considering the fact that you don't have KD and they didn't have you, to be 18 and 22, led by Spencer Dinwiddie and LeVert and Allen and Joe Harris and the crew, I've been very proud of what I've seen from the Brooklyn Nets. So the point that I'm trying to make...
Well, it's going to come down to two things. Like Daddy LeBron, right? You can't pull off what LeBron is able to do. LeBron was a transcendent talent. He ran that LeBron James system where guys get to fit around his skill set. But he was barely only able to win 2. Barely only able to win 2. And LeBron is a transcendent talent. Kyrie is not that, but he wants to be a Kobe, right? And the only way he knows how to lead is from his daddy LeBron, because LeBron obviously is the only taste of success that he's able to have. Even though LeBron is not a great leader in my opinion, that's just the only thing he knows how to lead. It's like a son hating their father, but they turn out to be just like their father because they've been around their father, right? This is what I see Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving knows that he's going to do a lot of the things that LeBron do, consciously or unconsciously, pretty much, with him knowing or without him aware. I would say aware. With him being aware or without him being aware, that he's going to do a lot of the things that LeBron used to do. Right? He's too small to be Kobe. He needs to figure out a way to digress his game to allow the other players to shine. And also for him to be effective. Because a lot of guys that try to digress their game, they take themselves out of the game, right? They be passive to try to let the guys shine. And then when they say be aggressive, then they be overly aggressive. This is part of the things KD struggled with in Oklahoma City. They were saying, KD, you shoot too much. And then KD would be probably overly passive. And then they'd be like, KD, you're not shooting enough. And then KD would be overly aggressive. So yes, it's a skill set to be able to digress your game and still be able to come into the game. Pretty much be effective in the game. And part of it is being multi-dimensional. Right? So this is why I said, and this, not to digress a bit, this is why I said that KD going to Golden State made him a better player. Because KD was able to digress his game a bit and still find out a way to be effective on the court. Kyrie Irving has to figure that out. Maybe he can go to KD and talk to him about it.
Kyrie, your statement about we need a piece, everybody can understand that we're a piece of it. What the hell you talking about? That's why you're there. Now, if you sat up there and said...
That's what's assumed. A lot of these chemistry teams believe that they're just a star away. It isn't like you went after the star you know will fit on your team. You just went out there a star. Right? You just went after a star. Kyrie obviously went to a team that destroyed the chemistry of Boston. And it also came with Gordon Hayward being injured, forced into the starting lineup. And obviously Brad Stevens not having a backbone. So now you got Kyrie Irving inserted into a team with great chemistry. So two things are going to happen. Kyrie Irving has to figure out how to do that. Or you have to give up some of those pieces and go out the defensive pieces and three-point shooters that can fit around Kyrie, that allows Kyrie to do that. And somebody else can handle the other aspect of the game.
We need a piece, and the piece is Kevin Durant. And when Kevin Durant comes here, this is what we'll be. No problem with that whatsoever.
No, that was assumed also. Like I said before, if Brooklyn Nets lose in the first round like they did with D'Lo, or they don't make the playoffs, then I don't understand how KD coming off Achilles is going to save them. I thought they were supposed to be what Miami is now. You add Kyrie, they are what Miami are, right, and you add KD, and they're a title contender. Just like if you add KD to a Miami Heat team, maybe they'll be a title contender. No, they're not. If they was not to make the playoffs or fall apart in the first round, I don't understand how can a KD, right, coming off Achilles injury is going to save them.
That's not what Kyrie Irving said, Max Kellerman. What Kyrie Irving said is, even if Kevin Durant were here, I'm paraphrasing based on this quote, even if Kevin Durant were here and I were here and we are healthy, it's very glaring that we are missing a piece. Who the hell are you talking to? That's not true. That is not true. If Kevin Durant were healthy and Kyrie Irving were healthy, the Brooklyn Nets would be a top 2 seed in the Eastern Conference. We'd be talking about the potential of them going to the finals. What the hell are you talking about?
Excuse me a second. Kyrie, listen to me very...
This brother right here, man. Oh my goodness, this brother right here. Argue with pure emotions. Argue with... You know what this show is about? This show is about emotions versus logic. You know what I felt about... Undisputed was, I compared it to like Democrats and Republicans in terms of conservatives and liberals. Two idiots that'll look stupid to just defend their point. One of them may be right, but even if they're wrong, they'll look stupid just to defend their point, right? Like politics of conservatives and liberals. That's what I compare Skip and Shannon to. One is far left, one is far right. This show is two guys. One guy is extremely logical, and the other guy is extremely emotional.
carefully. Need this man to have a voice tomorrow is Friday. We got a show. And the ramifications of your comments are that we're not even out of the
quote unquote logical. I like to say analytical.
A block. We're halfway into the A block. This dude's about to lose his voice. What's the matter with you?
Max, I'm not about to lose my voice, but I'm about to lose my mind. Max, I'm gonna leave it to you like this. He said, even if we had Kevin Durant and him and Kyrie himself healthy, we're a piece or two away.
I agree with that because they have no defense, right? Just because listen, look, I don't know what's with these teams like the Portland Trail Blazers that believe that you could just get some shooters and 2 stars. You're going to win a lot of games, but you're going to meet that high IQ team that's going to put you in a tough spot. And this team even looks like, just with the personality blends, they got the bench players that's going to feel what Boston felt like. I can play better. I could play better when Kyrie's not off the floor and they're blaming me for the losses. Because that's how some of those guys feel. Some of those guys will probably take it as, man, Kyrie said that a lot of us going to have to go. But I can play better when he's off the floor. Then you got Kyrie Irving's personality and his mood swings. And you got KD's beta male personality. So when they face adversity, I wonder how that's going to be. That's one thing. They got to get some defense. That's what they need to do. Come up with some defensive schemes. They got to do something.
What? What? No!
But you know, Kyrie just pretty much saying, like what LeBron says, I'm not changing my style of play. You have to get rid of some of these guys and get some pieces that fit me.
Oh, no, I don't want to hear that.
Here's the problem.
I don't want to hear that.
This is so bad.
That's not true.
This is so bad on so many levels. Let's start with this. Nets had a lead for a lot of that game. They lost. Kyrie was minus 29. When he was on the floor, his team was outscored by 29 points in a game they could have won. So on a night, hey, Kyrie, try this one. Maybe they need 1 fewer piece. Try that one.
Oh, by the way.
Without Kyrie.
Excuse the interjection.
Yeah.
He was minus 20. They were minus 29 with him on the court.
Yeah.
Against the Philadelphia 76ers team without Joel Embiid.
Right. Tobias Harris went off.
He went off. I watched the game. He put it on the show.
Can you repeat what you just said again?
Maybe they need 1 fewer piece. Because if one dude is minus 29, and otherwise you could win the game because they were ahead in that game, actually you can fairly make the argument, point to that guy, that's the reason we lost. Now, are the Brooklyn Nets better off without Kyrie? Here's the insane thing. Maybe. Like without KD, maybe.
They
with
lost
KD,
in the first round last season.
they were over 5. What?
Well, that's their end game this season, right? Maybe they win one more game in the first round. That doesn't. If that happens, then I don't understand how adding KD off of the Achilles injury is going to save you.
What did I say this year? I said I think their record's going to be about the same with Kyrie. Because Kyrie, now think about this, Stephen A. I've been on as much as you sing his praises, I've been on here saying he's arguably the most skillful player in the history of basketball. Skills.
I agree. He got the best handles, right? And obviously one of the best finishers I've ever seen. That's Kyrie Irving. He's a great individual talent. That's it.
Because for a guy whose talent is pitched that high, that means how fast you are.
See, this isn't golf where it's just one guy. If basketball was like golf, he'll be one of the greatest of all times, right? But basketball is not like golf. It's a team game, right? You just have to find out a way to make the team better. Just like in the band, you got to find out a way to make the band better.
Or, dexterity, all those things, what your ceiling is. Who else whose talent has been pitched that high has developed skills like this? I love watching Kyrie play. So then you have to ask yourself, why were the Cavs so bad when he got there and they didn't get any better until LeBron got there?
Well, that's a bad point right there. Right? Now you could use the Boston point. That'll be a better point. That Cavs team, Kyrie was young, and also when LeBron got there, he traded away like 70% of the people there.
When he went to Boston, was the team better off without him than with him?
60 to 70%.
In terms of how they performed, their plus, all that stuff, better off without him than with him. And now in Brooklyn, where last year they were ahead of this pace, why are they a little bit behind it? If he's the most skillful player ever, Stephen A., there's a difference between being smart, which Kyrie wants very badly, clearly, for everyone to think, and being wise. Skill.
Kyrie just aware, right? He's just probably just aware. Right? A lot of people want to use the word woke or aware. They want to pretty much say that I'm aware of the things that's going on. Just don't believe what people are telling you. Maybe they'll confuse that with being smart, but he's just aware. Maybe that.
Is what you can do. Wisdom is how you deploy that. He is not a leader. He lacks wisdom.
Thank you. See, there you go. You just won the argument with that Max. Just because you could do something doesn't mean you should do it all the time. Thank you. That's what he struggles with. Right? That's what he struggles with. This is the difference between him and Stephen Curry. Right? This is the difference between a Rambo and a Napoleon. Rambo's a good movie, but you can't be a Rambo in real life. You got to make everybody better. It's a team game. Right? You got to figure out a way to make your teammates shine at least. If you want to be that star or superstar. That's what Kyrie Irving lacks. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you can do it all the time. This is what Carmelo Anthony struggled with. When things went bad, he believed he had to do more. Hold the ball longer. Or he will say, and when it doesn't work out, he'll say, well, it's not my fault. It has to be the teammate's fault. No, it just means that you have to sacrifice a bit of that to make your other teammates shine. Right? And I use this point. People acknowledge the fact that stars got to get into the rhythm, right? But never acknowledge the fact that role players also got to get into the rhythm.
His own ego gets in the way. He just threw everyone in that locker room basically under the bus. He didn't say we need a piece. He said pieces.
Well, see, that's going to be one of the problems when they face adversity. It's that Kyrie Irving said we need more pieces. And a lot of those guys going to believe, well, I'm a good piece when you're not on the floor. Maybe, right? You got Kyrie Irving's mood swings, right? Following out the daddy LeBron's footsteps of how to get extra pieces. And you got Kyrie Irving's beta male mentality. I mean, KD beta male mentality, right? So, you know, we shall see. However, they need some defensive pieces. Kyrie Irving needs to do this, or they need to get some pieces to fit around Kyrie. Two ways you can handle it. Like I said, a lot of these teams with good chemistry, y'all go after these stars, believing that y'all still gonna have that chemistry, and then star come there and break a lot of your roles.
Kyrie, if you're a max contract player, what that means in a salary cap league is you get that money because the team believes they need fewer pieces if they have you. They need more pieces if they have someone else. And you got KD coming back next year.
I'm very, very, very disgusted with Kyrie Irving right now because Kyrie Irving did something last night that no one has ever done in my career here at First Take. He got me opening the show agreeing with Max Kellerman. I mean, that's how bad it is right now. He got me opening the show agreeing with Max Kellerman because I'm here to tell you something right now. You cannot be a Max dude. You sign a 4-year, $140 million deal. You come to Brooklyn, all right?
Yeah, because the debate was about to explain why it went down, pretty much what's going on with the Brooklyn Nets. You argued on an emotional level. Max argued on more of a pretty much semantics level. That's how that debate went. But anyway, Kyrie needs to figure out a way to digress and let his team shine. And usually, like I said, with a lot of these superstars, right? They struggle with doing that. This is why I said one of the reasons why KD went to Golden State made him a better player, because when guys will say this about KD in Oklahoma City, when they tell him to digress a bit, he's taking too much shots, he's playing hero ball, he'll be a bit too passive. And then when they tell him to shoot more, he'll be too aggressive, right? So he went to Golden State to find that right balance. When to be aggressive, when to be passive, right? So that's why I said that's one of the good things why one of the good things KD learned in being in Golden State. So maybe he can go to KD and learn some bit of that. Maybe ask him that type of advice. He has to find that balance. Well, that's it. If you like this video, make sure you like, share, and subscribe, hit the notification bell. And that's it. It's not no nonsense.